Hello and happy Mother's Day. My name is Reverend Lezil Goodwin, and I'm one of the co-senior ministers of this center with Reverend Karen. And I want to start out by commending and thanking Reverend Karen for doing that reading, because it's impossible to read without big emotion and tears. So thank you for sharing that with us. Mother's Day. Whew. I'm a mother of 5, 2 biological, 3 that I acquired by marrying their lovely dad, and a whole passel of extras. You know how when you've got kids, they come with extras? So boyfriends and former boyfriends that still come over, friends, neighbor kids. Our patio is a hangout spot. And my kids are pretty big now. Our youngest is finishing up her freshman year at ASU. And so I have this opportunity to have a view that's a little bit different than it has been on Mother's Day past, where I get to look at all the ways I've done so well as we look at these 5 amazing, unique, completely individual beings that are walking this world now as sort of adults. And we get to hear about all the ways we maybe didn't do such a great job, because they share that a lot. So I want to share one of my favorite stories. This is actually my son Creighton's favorite story of his childhood. So I was a young mom, and I really wanted to share a certain aspect of my childhood that was important to me. And that is that I knew, no matter what, that there was nothing I could do that would make my parents not love me. Nothing. If I killed somebody, they'd come love me on their prison visits. I didn't. But this was just a truth in our home, that we were loved no matter what. We might have been called stupid a time or two when we really deserved it, but we were deeply loved, and that there was nothing that could shake that. So super important that I shared that, and I just lavished my kids with it. And this is at a time when I was hearing a lot about young men and women being thrown out of their homes for coming out as gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender. So I really wanted to make it clear to my kids that that was not a problem in this house, that would never be a problem in this house, that you are loved. And I thought I was doing such a great job at it, making sure that my kids knew that I was totally fine if they were gay or lesbian or transgender or purple or whatever. Until my 6-year-old at the time tearfully came to me and asked, "Mama, are you still going to love me if I'm not gay?" There's the message you think you're giving and the message they hear. So yes, Creighton, who turned out straight, we love you anyway. Just exactly the way you are. Parenting is an interesting challenge. Whether you are a biological parent, a step-parent, an adoptive parent, a godparent, a parent of choice, a de facto parent, a favorite auntie, a fur mama. Hey, it's a thing. Don't try to tell my little Pomeranian that I am not his mommy. It's not going to happen. It comes with its challenges. It comes with its challenges of really expressing the depth of what we feel and what we want. And for you gentlemen out there, if you think you're not included in this talk, yes, the single dads and the foster dads and the stepdads, but also just from that place where we all have a divine masculine and a divine feminine. For the coworkers that you've nurtured, for the people that you've mentored, for the younger siblings, for the older siblings sometimes. There's that mothering aspect that comes through all of us sometimes. And because we're human beings, We are not always perfect at it. I'm going to share this talk from the perspective of the Divine Mother, of the Universal Mother, of that place where we all receive infinite mothering love and can then share it from that same place. Rumi says it so beautifully when he said, "We're born of love. Love is our mother." Whether we get to enjoy that today in physical form or not, that is the truth for each one of us. So I have a prayer for each and every one of us from that universal perspective, and odds are from the perspective of the mothering people in your life as well. What is it that we want for each one of you? We want you to be safe. We want a world that is safe for you so that you can go to school and to church and to work and to the bar and to music lessons and to wherever you go without worrying about guns or knives or harsh words. We want you to be safe and feel safe enough to be who you really are. But we can't control that. We can't force that to happen. We can't follow you around. We try. We can't follow you around and beat up every sixth grader who says a mean thing to you. And as you become adults, we can't come tell off that boss. We want to. But the truth is, as Ernest Holmes said, there is no final safety until all nations are at peace. It's not in our power to control the thought of other nations. We only have the power to control first our own thought, and finally, through that, the thought of our nation. And I would add, eventually the world. So this universal mother reaches out to each one of us and invites us to lean into our own thoughts on peace so that we may be a place where that safety begins. And it's here to love us into that space. Because it's not always easy. It's not always natural to come from a place of peace when there is so much anger in the world and so much ability to lean into righteousness. We want you to have peace on the outside, but we want you to have peace on the inside too. That anchored knowingness that no matter what seems to be happening out there, that all is truly well. That ability to sink into whether for you it is positive thoughts or affirmative prayer or meditation or just positive vibes. That ability to do that wherever you are, whatever is happening. Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano shared a story once, long ago, that has stuck with me forever, about a time when she got separated in public from her small child at a concert when there were like 20,000 people. Have you ever had that happen where you look down and the little one you were supposed to be watching is not right there? And what she did was, she backed up until she hit a wall or a pillar or something that she could lean into. And then she went into prayer. And before that prayer was finished, she heard over the loudspeaker Michelle Medrano come to information, and she knew that Jesse was smart enough, because she'd raised him to be, to find a safe adult and get what he needed. Well, good job, Jesse. And that's a great part of this story. But really, that's why we're pushing you for spiritual practice. That's why, in case you're tired of hearing it every Sunday, that's why we keep doing it. We do spiritual practice so when the moment hits that you could just cry or collapse or fall apart, that the thought comes to you to pray, to breathe, to know the truth so that you can be effective. We want you to have that inner peace. The universal mother wants that for you. We want you to be safe, but not too safe. Not so safe that you're afraid to try. Not so safe that you're not curious. Opening yourself up to that amazing part of yourself that is special and different than anybody else. These mothers want, the universal mother wants each one of us to step into the fullness of who we really are. And to do that, we have to feel secure. And then we have to be brave, to be willing, to know that the universe has got us so completely that we can jump off that cliff and there is a net that will catch us. We want you to be loving and to be loved. Every one of you. To be absolutely loving and absolutely loved. First, you have to love yourself. This one wasn't hard for me because my family set it up. They said, we don't quite know who you are. I'm me. I threw them a couple of loops there. But whoever it is, it's awesome. And we love you. Be you. Be all the way you. That means letting go of all the screw-ups from before. That list you've got in your head of all the reasons you're not allowed to have the life you want, let it go. It isn't serving you. You don't need it. Let it go. If your mother were here right now, she'd be nodding aggressively with me. Yes, let it go. Just believe me on that. If she wouldn't, listen to this anyway. You have to love yourself completely in order to be able to do the next thing on the list, which is to learn to love unconditionally. Yourself, and then the people that you are nurturing, that you are caring for, that you are lifting up, be they children or friends or coworkers or spouses, kids in the youth church, our amazing teen group. Each deserve to be loved unconditionally. My quote to support this is from the great sage Madonna. She says, to be brave is to love someone unconditionally without expecting anything in return. Whew, that's a tall order, isn't it? Without expecting anything in return, without holding people hostage to expectations of payback or certain behaviors, to love them right through doing things that you hate. Because we have to do that, don't we? I don't think there's a mother in this room who hasn't looked at one of her children and thought, you're going to do what? Why? But that's what we're called to do. That's what the universal mother calls us to do, because that's what it gives us. That's what she, the divine feminine, gives us. That's why we can love ourselves unconditionally. That's why we can feel safe enough to know that we can take those risks and be brave and walk out everything that we are. Because the universe has got us exactly as we are and exactly as we are not. We want you to accept the love that comes. It is actually easier to love unconditionally than it is to let that love come back in unconditionally. Because it doesn't always look like we thought it would look. When I was in junior high, I had a habit, we'll call it, of reading romance novels, like those little teen romance novels. Like a book a week. I had such a collection. And so by the time I was ready to date, I had made a list of how boys show you they care about you from these books. You can imagine how realistic this list was, right? It was things like, he gives you his letter jacket. He gives you his ID bracelet. Remember ID bracelets were a thing, right? They weren't anymore by the time I was in high school. So no boy could possibly love me enough because he didn't have an ID bracelet to give me. Love doesn't always look the way we think it's going to look. Sometimes it comes with frustration and pain. Sometimes it comes with expectations that we're not ready to give. But can we see it as love anyway? Can we look at the messy lives of our children and our friends and our siblings and find the love that's there and let it in? Can we look in the faces of those who see past all of our flaws, that list that we've got, and love us anyway, and just believe them? Just believe them that we're worth it. Just believe them that we deserve it. For some of us, it's a huge challenge. For me, it was a huge challenge to believe it, to let it in. But that is what the universal calls us to do. And we want you to be happy. Really, really happy. The kind of happy that passes any ability to explain what it is or to describe it. The kind of happy that means you're satisfied to the very tips of your toes and the end of your hair. The kind of happy that oozes out of you so much that it surrounds our little grandchildren, our real grandchildren and our spiritual grandchildren, with so much love that we know that this is continuing into the next generation. I cannot look at Stephanie while I say this. The mama of our community grandchild. This is what we want. We want you to be grateful. We want you to be grateful for all the good in your life. That is the source of happiness. What we appreciate expands. Too many times we let things go by unnoticed. Too many wonderful things pass us by uncelebrated. We want you to see them and call them out and celebrate them, because that's what brings them back into your life in a fuller way. And as that happens, we want you to be generous, because we only truly enjoy what we share. As that love pours in, spread it around. Call that friend you saw in tears today because something in Reverend Karen's opening reading touched them deeply. Call your mother or your sister or your friend. Spread that love. Celebrate the happy mothers in your life and hug the ones that are feeling challenged today and every day. And we want you to be inspired to live in the awe of life that is so amazing. It's so amazing that 150 people decide to come together on any given Sunday and take care of each other. It's so amazing that we live in a city that is so beautiful that people choose it for their vacation destination so they can be in wonder of our red rocks and our cacti and our amazing wildlife and our hummingbirds. Live in the awe of friendship and music and kindness. It's everywhere. And when we're grateful for it and we share it, it rises up within us in a way that carries us through all of the challenges that come. The great mother, the infinite feminine divine, invites all of us into being safe, but not too safe, into being loving, and truly, deeply loved. It invites us, it has built a world in which we can be really, really happy, no matter what's going on. Really, really happy. I think Ernest Holmes summed it up really beautifully in Spiritual Awareness when he said, because God is, I am. Because love is, I am protected. Because goodness is, I am safe. Because abundance is, I am prosperous. Because happiness is, I am filled with joy. So my invitation, my call to action is to live out this prayer, to accept the invitation, to be generous and grateful and supportive and open, to love yourself so completely that you can invite the people that you know into that circle of sacred acceptance of themselves so they can feel your love fully, to know you are loved, to allow yourself to be inspired, and to truly be really, really happy. And so it is. So let's take that into prayer. Breathing into the goodness that is, and recognizing that there is only the one power, one presence, one Mother, Father, God, one Spirit, that is in and through and as all things in its infinite love, in its infinite givingness, in its infinite wholeness and completeness. It is expressing as everyone within the sound of my voice and beyond, for it is all that there is. Everyone and everything are built up of it. And what I know for each one of us, as this is our truth, is that its love is our love. Its happiness, its joy is our joy. That everything that we are and everything that we have and everything that we experience are outpicturings of the perfection of this infinite oneness, the sacred feminine, this beautiful universal mother, supporting us and inviting us into its beautiful energy as we then walk it out for those who follow. And as we lean into it, I know that we are each so deeply loved that we are brave and courageous, ready to be the all that we are. I know that we are prosperous and abundant so that we can be generous in all of our good. That we are its kindness so that we can take care of one another. That everything we need is right where we are because it is. And I am so thankful for this truth, for this community, for each person here and online, for the world as a whole, for this profound healing knowingness. And so I let it be, I let it go, and I trust that it is so as we say together, and so it is.